Universities of Asia and the Pacific and Daffodil International University. In the beginning, let me give you a brief background to AUAP. The representatives of the universities of Asia and the Pacific assembled at a conference in Thailand in 1995, believing that regional cooperation among universities can contribute substantially to the improvement of national systems of higher education, to economic and social development, to human resources development, and to mutual understanding and respect among people. Through the cooperation of all these leaders, Association of Universities of Asia and the Pacific, AUAP, has the capability to shape and influence the outlook of higher education regionally and globally. One of the priorities of Association of Universities of Asia and the Pacific for 2021 to 2026 is AUAP Leadership Development Program for current and emerging presidents, rectors, chancellors, pro-chancellors, administrators, faculty, and students. With this and many more in the agenda, the 15th AUAP General Conference is being held in Bangladesh again. DIU is delighted to be able to host this prestigious General Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to begin the program with the national anthem of Bangladesh. I would like to request the audience to rise and show due respect while the national anthem is played on. Thank you. Now I would like to call upon Professor Dr. Ricardo P. Palma, Secretary General, Association of Universities of Asia and the Pacific, AUAP, for his welcome remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Secretary General.
Your Excellency, Mr. Mustafa Jabbar, Minister of Post and Telecommunications, Your Excellency, Dr. Dipo Muni, who will address this congregation by video later on, Dr. Sabur Khan, founder of Daffodil International University and incoming president of AUAP, Dr. Peter Laurel and his lovely wife, Mrs. Laurel, Dr. Fernando Leon Garcia, President of IAUP and keynote speaker, Dr. Tonbay Moidin, founder and chairman of Gulf Medical University of the United Arab Emirates, Professor Dr. Mahbub ul Haq Majumder, Pro-Vice Chancellor of the IU and convener of the 15th AUAP General Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant good morning to all of you. It gives me great pleasure as Secretary General of the AUAP to welcome all of you to this 15th General Conference of the Association of Universities of Asia and the Pacific. Since its foundation in 1995, the AUAP organizes a general conference once every 2 years. One of the most important activities to be undertaken by this general conference is to highlight the accomplishments of the AUAP during the last 2 years under the leadership of Dr. Peter P. Laurel. We will show to you that in spite of the pandemic, the AUAP was not deterred in achieving its goals. And we welcome, and after this presidency of Dr. Laurel, we want to welcome the beloved son of Bangladesh, Dr. Sabur Khan, as the new president of AUAP from January 1, 2023 to December 2024. The AUAP was established, as indicated in the introduction earlier on, that it was founded in 1995 because the UNESCO at that time noticed that of all the regions in the world, Asia and the Pacific did not have any organization of colleges and universities that could be the platform for collaboration in the field of higher education. So, at the instigation and inspiration of UNESCO, AUAP was established, and several university presidents from all over the world came to Thailand, and they decided to form an organization called the AUAP. We are very fortunate that since 1955, the leadership of AUAP have been very active in pursuing its goals, especially these last few years with Dr. Laurel as president, with Dr. Mohammed Sabur Khan as first vice president, and Mr. Hari Mohan Gupta as second vice president. This trio have worked so well that they have accomplished a lot. This year, for example, in spite of the pandemic, we have organized several activities for students, for faculty, and for administrators. One of the projects that we want to highlight is the fact that the executive board yesterday approved the launching of our accreditation, sorry, of our assessment and certification model called the Happy Model, which is a major part of our quality assurance project. In addition to that, we have also finalized the document on internationalization, which will be, uh, which will be, which will have its headquarters at SIAS International University to be manned by Dr. Shun Chen, and it will be supported by Adamson University. The Happy Model, which is our main instrument for quality assurance, will be housed at Jagran Lake City University. It will be supported by Mr. Hari Mohan Gupta, and we are hoping that after several years, the board can find another location for it. So these are just some of the projects of AUAP, which I am sure is going to benefit a lot of our members. Our emphasis this last few years has been to introduce programs that are of interest to our students. We even ventured into robotics competition. We are organizing a moot court competition for law students. We have organized English debate competition, English speech competition, essay writing competition for the students. And most recently, we introduced what we call the Student Academic Olympiad. So all of these things are meant for the benefit of our students. We at AUAP and the 180 colleges and universities who are members of this dynamic organization are very fortunate that the baton of leadership will be handed to another dynamic and visionary leader as Dr. Muhammad Sabur Khan, who has a terrific record of accomplishment in business and academia. We are looking forward to another 2 years of steady growth under his leadership. In addition to the keynote presentation of Dr. Fernando Leon Garcia from Mexico and Dr. Tunbay Moidin, we will organize two parallel sessions under the chairmanship of Mr. Hari Mohan Gupta, founder and chairman of Jagran Lake City University, and presently the second vice president of AUAP, and Professor Uwak Chowdhury, executive director of Online University in the United States of America. In the afternoon, we will have the inauguration ceremony, and the chief guest is AKM Inamul Haq Shamin, Deputy Minister of Water Resources. Finally, the gala dinner and award ceremony with cultural presentations will culminate this event with Mr. Mahibul Hussain Chowdhury, Deputy Minister for Education, as chief guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your stay with us and have a pleasant day. Good morning and thank you.
Thank you for providing a comprehensive overview of what AUAP is going to achieve next. And we are really excited to hear about the Happy model, and we hope that it will also come in Bangladesh soon. Ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to show you a documentary on 15th AUAP General Conference 2022.
Against playing a role over around 1995, in Thailand, the journey of the Association of Universities of Asia and the Pacific began. One of the pioneers of collaborative organization between educational institutions in Asia and the Pacific. For 27 years, more than 500 worldwide institutions have benefited from the networking of AUAP. Where knowledge sharing, partnership development, research collaboration, exchange, and internationalization to ensure quality education has become the key areas to work and cooperate. After a difficult period of ups and downs, the on-site General Conference of AUAP is back again. And this time, Daffodil International University is the proud host of the 15th AUAP General Conference 2022 in Dhaka, Bangladesh, where the education leaders of renowned universities are here to share their best practices on the synergy between information technology and quality education in the 4-year era. Blended education, outcome-based education, project-based teaching, entrepreneurship, international cooperation, faculty development, and many more areas to explore. We welcome you all to the 15th AUAP General Conference 2022 at Daffodil International University.
Thank you to the technical team. Moving on to the keynote presentation, and this will be done, as you already know, by the General Secretary's speech, Dr. Fernando Leon Garcia, President of the International Association of University Presidents, IAUP, USA, and President of Sati's University. We are delighted that this distinguished personality is our keynote speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to introduce you to the keynote speaker first. Fernando Leon Garcia has been the president of Sati's University since 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, let me also take this opportunity to mention that Mr. Mustafa Jabbar, the Honorable Minister, has arrived amongst us, and he will take his seat soon. I will move on to the introduction to the keynote speaker. Fernando Leon Garcia has been the president of Sati's University since 2010. Prior to that, he served as chancellor of City University of Seattle's International Division, covering programs, campuses, and sites across the Americas, Europe, and Asia. Before joining City University, he served as the Chief Academic Officer of Apollo International University of Phoenix International. Leon Garcia serves on several boards and advisory groups related to international higher education, accreditation, governance, and institutional development, including the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, Council of Presidents of the Association of Governing Boards, Commission on Internationalization, Global Engagement of the American Council on Education, Council for the Advancement and Support of Education, Consortium for North American Higher Education Collaboration, Universia Mexico, and Mexican Federation of Private Universities. He is the president-elect of the International Association of University Presidents, IAUP. Leon Garcia holds a doctorate in educational administration and policy analysis and a master's degree in international development education from Stanford University, as well as a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering from Sati's University. Now, the keynote presentation will be presented by Dr. Fernando Leon Garcia. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the keynote speaker. Let me also inform you that after the keynote, we will take questions from the audience.
Shubo Shokal, Kamon Ashubai. Good morning and hello for those who didn't understand. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of the International Association of University Presidents. We are most thankful to Chairman Sabur Khan for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here with Dr. Laurel, Dr. Gupta, who comprise collectively the leadership of AUAP. It is not my first time involved with AUAP. I have been to events in Galati. I've been to events in Kaohsiung. And so we've been interacting with other colleagues also from AUAP, such as you probably don't know him, Sean Chen from China, Carmen La Magna, Andy Piusca. So it's great to be here. So on behalf of this organization that is a sister organization of AUAP, I'm most honored to deliver some initial thoughts on, as the recording said, the previous video, where we were, what worked, and where we are headed. So, if I may, the presentation, PowerPoint. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I hope this is not too profound and too dense for you, but my intention is to just give you a general perspective that will allow you to then zero in on several of the themes that are part of the AUAP conference. First of all, let me comment, next slide, that what we need to do is check on what is working, take note of what has failed, and reflect profoundly and proceed with what needs to be improved. Next slide, please. And seek to reinvent and innovate that which we must. It's also important to acknowledge that we are moving through different stages, and depending on what institution you happen to be linked to and what region of the world you are located, you are probably in one of these three stages. First is emergency, where we have all shuffled around and tried to pivot and adjust what was needed to provide continuity to the educational programs that we offer to our respective constituents. Second is that many of us have been able to move forward, and as there have been health protocols and innovations in medicine, we have been able to have a more stable environment. But there have been a few who were ready from the get-go and have not only tried to cope with what has been, but have tried to acknowledge, innovate, and invent what should be. Let me just share with you some thoughts arising out of one of the many surveys that was carried out. This was a survey that was carried out with university presidents, over 700 responses from over 80 countries. And next slide, please. I'll just point out a few things. Number one is that all university leaders, regardless of the country, regardless of the location, regardless of the nature, we need to acknowledge the role of faculty. If faculty had not adjusted to what was needed, we would not have been able to provide continuity to what was required. AUAP has as one of its key aspects internationalization. And in that sense, the survey led to identify some important and emerging aspects that are now part of the future on a go-forward basis. And that's that universities, because there were classes without students going to campuses, because there was exchange without physical mobility, now face an opportunity, which is e-mobility. And that's how to promote intercultural and international perspective without students actually moving. And then third, that the leadership identified that in the next 3 to 5 years, even if we were committed solely to face-to-face, we were likely and are likely to be already looking at how hybrid and online enrich the traditional student population as well as expand for other constituencies. Let me move on to the next slide, which is arising out of a similar event that is being held right here. Next slide, please. We had the IAUP Triennial Conference. IAUP has conferences typically every 3 years, but because of pandemic, it couldn't be held in 2020. We tried to hold it in 2021, and because of COVID protocols, we still could not have it face-to-face. So we had it online. And I'll just share with you several aspects that are key for university leaders as you all gather here to look at what the future bodes for us. At that event, we had over 400 from over 40 countries. We had over 80 speakers. And I'll point out several concepts which are key for leadership in higher education on a go-forward basis. Number one is nimbility. We can ill afford to be the much criticized ivory tower that society has sometimes referred to in colleges and universities. And we need to be, just like in COVID, fast, quick, nimble, on our feet to make sure that the adjustments and responses of colleges and universities are there. We don't need another crisis for universities to demonstrate that we can move quickly. Number two, that although the survey suggested that everybody was mindful of the here and now, which is short term, that it is very important to have a long-term outlook. And accordingly, it is most important not to continue to reflect what COVID has done to us and what is working now, but what should be the next 3 to 5 years. And that is what we refer to as bifocal leadership. We also need to be mindful of the fact that business and industry requires short, accessible, laser focus programs and offerings, that intercultural and international are fundamental, and that we learn from the Association of Indian Universities right next door, that there's an emerging concept called academic bank of credit that forces us to think of the learner not in the sense of a student being with us 4 years or 5 years, but that increasingly there will be students who will have gone to 3, 4, or 5 universities. And therefore, universities need to be able to assess what students have learned and comprehend what they have mastered so that we can then pursue a degree. And of course, as we focus on learners, more individualized program. Next slide, please. We, of course, also learned that while we were addressing the fate of students, we were not doing enough. And COVID only intensified what was student development, student mental health, student support. And that as universities, we need to, of course, be mindful of the masses, but we also need to be mindful of the talent that resides in whichever university, whichever society you happen to be with. And so what we refer to as Einsteins is everywhere. We just need to look for them, and we just need to implement the appropriate educational experience that will help nurture and develop this talent. Diversity and inclusion, not as something we have to do, but as a strength that will enrich what we offer to our society. And of course, there was a call before COVID for social responsibility, and COVID only intensifies the need for us to be linked better to community. And we also learned about empathy, solidarity, flexibility, and opportunity. And the survey also yielded that as we move forward, it's not about adjusting to survive. It's adjusting so that we can be faithful and consistent in delivering whatever mission statement we have with quality, with a mindset on operational and sustainable, financial sustainability, and of course, strategic. We can't be all things to all people. Next slide is simply intended to share with you how the mindset has been changing. So I'll refer to 2 slides. This was published by the Chronicle of Higher Education, And what this slide shows, rather than talking about each of the numbers, is that the degree of optimism is on the rise. Next slide will show some of the aspects that we need to key on. Next slide, please. Teaching and learning. It can't be the same as it was before. We need to increase public-private partnerships. There are several other things I've mentioned already. And of course, fundamental to this is student experience. Less than 2 weeks ago, I was at another conference in IAU in Dublin, another international organization of which several of you belong to. And they also had another survey. Next slide, please. And then next after that. And here, all I want to point out is that even though the pandemic affected many of the things we did, there were many positive things as well. For example, one of the sections that IAU touched upon was research, and what the survey yielded was that there was enhanced transversal collaboration across institutions. This was without physical mobility. So you can imagine how much more is possible as we come back to face-to-face full force, but we don't forget the virtues of hybrid and online. Next. There have been several leaders, of course, throughout this. I am sure that within AUAP you have your own, but two that are referred to extensively in the US setting are Southern New Hampshire University. This is a university that had 3,000 students. Right now it has 180,000 students. We visited Paul LeBlanc, their leader, and I think what these two charts point out are where we are. Many of our universities are there on the side that it's called or labeled challenges. But the right-hand side talks about opportunities and about the things that I just mentioned and others. Among those, trying to move towards programs that are more aligned to jobs, that are more relevant to desired skills, that are modular, that are granular enough to be able to help with acceleration as needed for the individual learner, that are stackable, and that are flexible enough to provide meaningful employment as such. Next slide. There are others, of course, who have pointed similar aspects. I'll just highlight two here. This is from Deloitte Touche and International Finance Corporation, the financing arm of the World Bank. And that's that we need to move towards a more learner-centric approach. We need to incorporate more online learning. And although, yes, we might be facing enrollment competition, it's about collaboration and about partnerships and about acknowledging the value of competency-based education. Next. We were also involved in a recent event in Colombia. And there, I'll share with you what the other thought leader in terms of innovation has shared with us. Next slide, please. And that is Michael Crow in Arizona State University. And what he points out is that we are moving from what has been an approach by higher education institutions of incremental changes, of having a bureaucratic structure, of slow growth and exclusivity, to one where we are searching for and trying to deliver transformational outcomes, entrepreneurial models, leapfrogging solutions, not what's next 3 to 5 years from now. And of course, solutions at a scale. Next. Many of you know that UNESCO, that's the United Nations Arm for Education, holds a conference every 10 years. Of course, this was not possible, so it came after 12 years. And it happened in May in Barcelona. And I share with you, again, some of the aspects that came about as UNESCO and YESALC, the Latin American branch, talk about UNESCO 2030. And of course, key among all is that the right to higher education is something that we all need to be working on. Transdisciplinarity is fundamental. A holistic approach to what universities offer has to be essential. Lifelong learning has to be something that we promote among our students. They're not here, and they should not be here just for the 3 or 4 or 5 years. They should be here so that every alma mater can offer them opportunities to continue to improve as individuals and as professionals for greater contribution to society. And of course, it's important to talk about flexibility and diversity. Again, diversity as a strength and a greater focus on competencies. Next. Just about a month ago, we happened to carry out a trip to MIT and Harvard. Yeah, just about. Harvard, MIT, and Southern New Hampshire University. And I'll share with you some concepts that, among others, Harvard, the traditional slow-to-change university, talking about some of the same things that I have shared with you. There's a report, it's on the web, Harvard Future of Teaching and Learning, that talks about reimagining the classroom, enriching content, and expanding the community. And of course, fundamental of this is that they're calling for us to look beyond the classrooms, where we meet the learners where they are, rather than be limited by space or place. Therefore, blended learning experiences and flexible learning experiences are fundamental as we move forward. Next. Going back to UNESCO, there's some principles, of course, that you can draw from so that as an organization, AUAP, or as institutions, you might consider one or more of these suggested by UNESCO. Inclusion, equity and pluralism, academic freedom and participation, inquiry, critical thinking and creativity, integrity and ethics, commitment to sustainability and social responsibility, and of course, fundamental, just like AUAP was founded to do, it's about quality, it's about excellence. And in trying to draw to a close, let me share with you 2 more slides. Next one. It is very important to acknowledge that the higher education institutions that we were no longer will be. And that we acknowledge that we are moving toward what is increasingly labeled as a global multiversity. Multiversity because we are increasingly going to be facing multiple learners, multiple modes of delivery, multidisciplinarity, multiple roles. And global because it matters that we achieve local relevance and global outreach. The term global came about in about 93, 94 as the North American Free Trade Agreement was emerging, and the Toronto Globe and Mail talked about the need to make sure that we did not try to interact as silos, but that we were trying to see synergies, in that case, among nations, in this case, in universities, among and across universities. Last slide to close. We are therefore moving towards the post-pandemic era. There might be other crises, there might be other COVID strands, but we are definitely moving under different circumstances. And as higher education institutions, we need to reflect and try to transform. Tom Friedman, many of you know him, New York Times. I take 2 concepts that he has shared with us during COVID. The first is that during the pandemic, people have communicated, collaborated, and competed in more places, in more ways, and with more people across more countries than ever before. That's a plus, I would say. And second also, that now and in the future, because of the speed of change, we will always need to be in a state of beta. Beta meaning continuously testing what else will work under that challenge that we all have to achieve our respective institutional missions. So in closing, I would just say, let's take note and let's learn from this. Thank you, gracias, and appreciate your attention.
Hello? Yes, thank you. We're back. Thank you, Dr. Leon Garcia, for sharing with us all about this survey, interesting survey, and it was a very engaging keynote presentation to which I could relate to a lot of points. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Leon Garcia will take some questions from the audience. If you want to ask him any question, you can raise your hand and our volunteers will take the microphone to you. Please identify yourself and address your question to Dr. Leon Garcia. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. This is Professor Dr. A.K.M. Fazlul Haq, Director, Institutional Quality Assurance Cell, Daffodil International University. You mentioned in your presentation transformational outcomes. So, my query is, would you please explain, in the case of fourth industrial revolution perspective, what parameters may be considered to get the best outcomes for transformations? Thank you, sir.
Okay, so you're talking about outcomes, the role of outcomes. Well, I think that several things. First of all, institutions, whether they are accredited or not, need to begin to move from what is the result of a course or a group of courses to what are learning outcomes. In the end, it's a matter of what is it that going through an undergraduate program or master's program takes you towards. So if you haven't yet configured your curriculum so that it is based on learning outcomes, you need to move in that direction. Number two, there's definitely progress in what is called competency-based education. And so universities need to begin to address how it is that practical experience embedded into the traditional courses that you offer can be something that you evaluate and grant credit for so that you move in that direction. And I think that from the perspective of accreditation agencies, they also need to make sure that as part of their standards and process, they embed assessment into these aspects. I think that most accrediting organizations are already there in terms of learning outcomes, in terms of learning assessment, but most have not incorporated yet competency-based education. So I think the biggest challenge right now is competency-based education, institutions developing a capacity so that they can deliver on that, and accrediting agencies organize accordingly so that they can assess the degree of progress on that. So that's the reform I think that it is going to take.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Fernandez, this is it working? Okay. So, Dr. Fernandez, this is Dr. Ahmed Jamal from University of Asia Pacific and a member of the Quality Assurance Committee, AUAP. So, my question regarding you, one of the point at your presentation, you mentioned blended learning experiences and flexible learning experiences. So, can you please elaborate this more, and also the flexibility that the blended learning and flexible learning mode offers us? Is there any apparent contradiction between the flexibility and the rigidity by the accreditation bodies? Thank you.
Well, I think that this is work in progress. I think that most accreditation agencies are not there yet. We talk about stackable and modular, and where you find accreditation agencies beginning to assess this are through pilots, because we have not perfected the formula yet. Yet in the IT arena, you see a lot of recognition on the part of the business and industry arena, how it is that shorter type of courses are acknowledged and are valued for employability and career progression. So the call is for universities to move from the traditional unit of analysis, which is a course that is structured for 36 hours or 45 hours, or a set of courses that constitute the curriculum, into shorter, more modular, more applied type of experiences that ideally equip students as part of the program, not as extra. Right now, there are already a growing number of institutions that say, you take your bachelor's degree and here's this certification, but it costs you extra and an extra time. I think the challenge for universities is to take that and through competency-based education say, having evaluated all of these skills that you're going to learn, it is applicable to engineering, it is applicable to IT, it is applicable to business, and therefore it could be part of the curriculum. So when we talk about flexible, stackable, modular, it's moving away from what we consider the traditional unit of analysis, which is a course that's defined by 36 hours or 45 or whatever it might be, and talking about discrete segments, of skills and knowledge that can be built in and incorporated. So we're not there yet, but it's a direction in which we have to move. And during our visit to Southern New Hampshire University, that was part of the key of their exponential or hockey puck growth, that they were trying to respond and trying to make sure that not only were their students equipped with a bachelor's or a master's degree, they were equipped with relevant, timely, focused skills that made their students more employable if they were employed already, and employable if they were not. And the same thing is occurring with institutions such as Arizona State Universities and a growing number of examples. So, it's again, part of the wave of future direction, hopefully growth, but we need to make sure that accreditation agencies acknowledge this. Otherwise, you will have universities innovating and accreditation not acknowledging and probably interfering with development and growth.
Dr. Garcia, Andy Pushka, Danubius University, Romania. Very good presentation, thank you. You started the discussion about multiverse, multiple roles, multiple learners, so like different dimensions, yeah. What about the content, the metaverse? What's inside? We see a lot of robots, intelligent, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality. What is the link? What is your opinion about?
Well, I think that going back to the stages, emergency, transition, and transformation, Dr. Pisco from Galati, Romania, good colleague. I think that there are those who are already doing it, and by all means, they should continue to pursue it. There are those that COVID showed did not have even the basic technological capacity. So I think the response is twofold. Number one, there are those who were doing it or definitely have a solid foundation so that they can continue to move in that direction. There are those, of course, and I suspect the majority, that they did not even have a learning management system just to cope with the regular teaching and learning process. So it would be a mistake to try to leapfrog and move towards AI and metaverse. However, it is an important trend that we need to acknowledge and incorporate. And yes, the reason why I have not incorporated it is because the grand majority are not ready for it. But looking 5 to 10 years from now, it is part of the global multiversity. So you're right.
Thank you very much, Dr. Garcia, for enriching our knowledge. I am Hari Mohan Gupta from Jagran Lake City University, India. My question is to you is, while going through your slide of from university to local university, you mentioned multiple roles of this multiversity.
Mhm.
Can you elaborate it, please?
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
Now, let me just clarify, moving from university to global multiversity depends on several factors. And one very important factor is, what is your mission statement, okay? Second is, what is your commitment to quality? Third is how well you're organized operationally and financially to move forward. And fourth, how strategic. So all of these have a bearing and how quickly and how intensively you move forward. When we talk about multiple roles, it's acknowledging that while we would all like to think that all universities can do teaching, research, and outreach, it is not true for the majority. Jamil Salmi, formerly from the World Bank, when he talked about the need to not distinguish between public and private universities, but about their commitment to quality and achieving quality. Uh, it has to do with acknowledging which of the multiple roles, the existing multiple roles, you have been good at. The grand majority of universities have been good in teaching, not in research, very little in outreach. So when we're talking about assuming multiple roles, it depends who you are. There are universities who have done research very well. Teaching, lousy, terrible. I think that a good example is the UK. When you look at their ranking system, the universities that are typically ranked number one, they're very good at research. But there was a recent effort the last 3 to 5 years that started to look at quality of teaching. The ones who were top 10 were nowhere to be found, except maybe one, among the top 10 quality of teaching. So when we talk about multiple roles, Dr. Gupta, it's acknowledging what your institution has been good at and what COVID is telling us. If you are a teaching institution, you need to begin to move forward and solidly to do more research and to be linked better and have more outreach with your community. If you are a research institution, you need to do the other two. So it's acknowledging that it's not only about your traditional role, but COVID has requested really and shown us that we need to be more involved and engaged. We cannot be, if we have been an ivory tower, we can no longer be that. So that's basically the call. Yes. Okay. So.
Thank you, my lovely audience. I was about to ask you to offer a big round of applause for the keynote speaker, but you already did. Can we have another round of applause for Dr. Leon Garcia? Thank you. As Dr. Leon Garcia mentioned, universities need to take up the challenges of the unknown future, and he mentioned a couple of objectives. We have to work quickly and nimbly. And on this note, I hope Dr. Peter P. Laurel, President of Association of Universities of Asia and the Pacific and President of Lyceum of the Philippines University, LPU, can speak more. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the President, Dr. Peter P. Laurel.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished dignitaries here at the presidential table, important guests who are all gathered here for the 15th General Conference of AUAP, our distinguished ministers who are here, gracing this important occasion and honoring AUAP. We're very grateful for your presence and the support that you have given. I would like to mention a special deep appreciation to our host, our incoming president of AUAP starting January, Chancellor Khan, together with our first vice president, Hari Gupta. I'd also like to acknowledge with deep appreciation the hard work of our Secretary General and our Secretariat through the years and have labored hard to continue the work, important work of AUAP. Let me just say that I found Dr. Leon Garcia's presentation excellent. I think it gave us a really broad viewpoint of some of the challenges that we face when we look at the future of our universities. One of the fundamental factors we see is that after a long absence, we are here all gathered together. And as we were talking with Harry Gupta, that it makes us feel very close to each other, that the AUAP family, in gatherings such as this, there is that vibrant exchange of ideas, contacts, looking at different models of education across all the member countries of AUAP. I'd like to just mention a few of those important points that I was very happy that Dr. Garcia presented and mentioned based on past studies. The first concept that I would like to mention here is the concept that I think is very present in AUAP and our host, together with our future host in India, Jagran Lake City University. And that is first the concept of the entrepreneurial university. I think this is an important point because in your presentation, Dr. Garcia, you mentioned the importance of being fast, of being nimble, especially about transitioning and becoming more cognizant of the fast-changing changes that all our schools have undergone. And this concept of the entrepreneurial university, whether it comes from the model of a owner type of a university or a public university, I think the concept espoused is that of being very fast to take on changes that are happening in the marketplace. I also would like to mention that the concern about accreditation and sometimes how it can be a block in being able to innovate is an important part that we see in various accreditation agencies throughout the world. We're very proud that under AUAP, we will be able to innovate with our own model, thanks to Jagran Lake City University. And I hope that those assessment and accreditation instruments will be able to look at how we can quickly become nimble and to capture the opportunities in the marketplace as it happens. And I think this is the fundamental point being mentioned. The third point that I would like to mention is that the relevance of the university degree is declining. And hence the challenge for universities to continue to make our course offerings more relevant by things that have been mentioned, such as micro-badging, micro-credentialing, looking for quicker exit points over the 4-year degree program that you can exit on the first, second, third year, the modular, the stackable. I think these are the things that we are forced to look at among our universities to be able to quickly adapt. A few years back, I think we all know that there was the avalanche of education that was supposed to be happening, and all of a sudden, it has been accelerated, this avalanche, by many of the fast-changing things that are happening. And I think this brings me to my fourth point. And that fourth point is that many of our schools and universities have to adapt to the agility of many of the techno companies. The tech companies, all those involved in IT, the synergy that we speak of, available in some of the robots that we have here. And that kind of mindset must be brought into the mindset of university governance, that we are quick to jump into the agility mindset. And I think in the long run, whatever seismic changes have happened in the last 3 years, I foresee that in the next 5 years, there will be even more seismic changes to come, precisely because of those items mentioned by Dr. Leon Garcia, some of the experiences that we are currently undertaking in our universities and schools. And I think the ability, the relevance, the future of our universities ultimately will depend on having this agility, with having this corporate entrepreneurship, by being able to move much faster. And the time horizons have shifted from the traditional 4-year, 6-year degree programs to even the semestral and the short programs. I think these in the end are important things that we will have to tackle. I'm sure many of you have started to tackle it in your respective universities, but it's good to get a global framework of precisely those things. I think for AUAP is an important venue for bringing all of these factors to play. I think when we exchange ideas, meet personally beyond the face-to-face that we've been doing over the 2 or 3 years, this will really help to bring all of the creative opportunities. And many of them have been elucidated. And I think the relevance of the university degree, while it appears to be threatened because of this changing market, the way to move forward is precisely to embrace all of these changes. And this is where the innovation, these are where all the things that we have been doing in our schools will come into play. While there are certain challenges ahead by way of public and private competition in various countries, while there have been challenges on the financing of education, one thing is clear, that there is a high demand for quality education. And I think in the SDGs that we will discuss later on, I think AUAP schools really have to latch on to the quality education aspect, particularly in the ability to deliver education quickly in short bursts with all the proper assessments and outcomes. In the end, it is really to be industry driven. I think most of us would like to bring into our respective boards, as many of the schools already have, industry players. So we are not just pure universities doing research, but we are bridging that all elusive gap between universities and industry much closer together. In our side of the Asia, in the Philippines, many of our schools, to share with you, are really, like many of you, pushing to be ultimately industry-driven. To us, that is the most important way to move forward. Where you have the 100% employability, we produce what industry wants, rather than what perhaps our degree programs may want, or the design of the curriculum traditionally may want. So these are the new fast-changing changes that we are seeing in our universities. And I'm elated that AUAP, in this important gathering, has been able to gather some of the best minds to be able to discuss all of this. And I think over this next 2 years, we will have one of those examples of a true industry-driven university with the core of entrepreneurship in our incoming president, our host in DIU, Dr. Sabur Khan, also to be followed by Jagran Lake City University, also the owner entrepreneur type. So there is speed, there is ability, there is a focus on the deliverables. And I think all of us can learn from these examples, and I am confident that the way forward for AUAP is one with optimism, with a great deal of a spirit of cooperation and collaboration. So on this note of optimism, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us on this 15th conference, and I thank you so very much.
Thank you for striking that note of optimism. And we hope this continues throughout the day. We would now like to play a video message from Dr. Deepu Moni, Member of the Parliament, Ministry of Education, the Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm very pleased that the 15th General Conference of the Association of Universities of Asia and the Pacific, AUAP 2022, is being hosted in Dhaka on 14 to 16 November 2022 by one of the renowned private universities in Bangladesh, the Daffodil International University. My best wishes and heartiest congratulations are with the Daffodil International University and AUAP for their great contributions to educational, socio-economic, and technological development of the region and the world. Daffodil International University has always been ahead in incorporating all the changes brought about by today's advanced technological breakthroughs and effects of globalization. According to various national and worldwide rankings, including THE, QS, the Green Metric for its environmental approach, Daffodil International University, DIU, has been ranked as one of the top universities in Bangladesh. DIU developed international connections with around 440 institutions and members of prominent international organizations worldwide. The Association of Universities of Asia and the Pacific was founded in Thailand in 1995 to serve as a platform for interaction and collaboration among higher education institutions in Asia and the Pacific. The AUAP theme prioritizes students' active participation in the learning experience, which can help them develop their entrepreneurial leadership skills. I'm also happy to know that the chairman of Daffodil International University, Dr. Mohammad Sabur Khan, is going to lead AUAP in 2023 and 2024 as its president. I do appreciate that Dr. Khan's leadership of this great organization would be another achievement in the field of higher education. Again, my warm wishes to AUAP and Daffodil International University in making this international conference a grand success. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu. May Bangladesh live forever.
Our heartfelt gratitude to the Honorable Minister for sending us her wish message. Dr. Mohammad Sobur Khan has contributed meaningfully in recent years to achieve the mission of AUAP as the first Vice President of Association of Universities of Asia and the Pacific, AUAP. Now I would like to request Dr. Mohammad Sobur Khan, respected founder and chairman DIU, to present his opening remarks to the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Khan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Very good morning to everyone. And thank you very much, our Honorable Chief Guest of this opening ceremony, Mustafa Jabbar, Honorable Minister, Post and Telecommunication. And thank you very much for joining with us. And my gratitude and my best regards to Dr. Fernando Leon Garcia, President of IUAP. And I know you came last night, almost midnight. So I was worried that you can able to join after a long flight from USA. And thank you very much for your commitment towards the AUAP. And of course, all of the universities part of your jurisdiction also, as you are the president of the IUAP. And definitely thank you very much, our respected President Peter Laurel, for your wonderful support last 2 years, despite of the COVID. I know that AUAP was active through the online, and every times you are very much professional to look after A to Z activities from your own position, despite of all of this pandemic. And of course, our Secretary General, Secretariat, and our, of course, another brother, Hari Mohan Gupta, Chancellor Hari Mohan Gupta, who is the founder and Chancellor of the Jagran Lake University. And thank you very much for your wonderful support is always, because your support is also boost up the AUAP to move in forward. And again, congratulations to Andy Puska. Thank you very much to elected as a second vice president yesterday in the board meeting, to getting the board to all of the member. And of course, today evening, we will celebrate the new committee. We know that yesterday there is a 7 new board of director is also elected. So I hope that our Secretary General will announce in the evening program. Our Honorable Minister or Deputy Minister will present in this program. So first of all, again, thank you very much all of the participants, because I don't like to mention everyone, but I know that everyone is putting your best efforts to join with us and encourage us, because AUAP is hope so it will be going to be the voice of the not only the Asia Pacific, it will be the voice of the whole world also, and definitely as our partnering or parental, whatever we are telling the IUAP, we are working always hand to hand, and we hope that we'll work in the near future also. So first, I'll just give my presentation. You see that already you are aware about it. So next please. You know that consists of the 6 regions. Though 1995 AUAP is established, but you already aware that AUAP is not in the Asia and the Pacific only. AUAP in Europe, because our second vice president is from Romania. And last board meeting last night, you know that our new board meeting, 2 persons came from USA, 1 person came from Austria. So it's a diversified association now. So consisting of the 6 regions and 74 countries now representing in AUAP. And definitely I should say, considering the Asia and the Pacific, you know, the 60% of the world's population is now contributing. So our two former president was from CS University, China, and who is, you know, there's almost 1.2 billion people is from China. So now our first vice president, Harimohan Gupta, is representing from India. There is almost 1.2 plus billion people. So only these two member country is now representing to the almost 50% of the whole world. So again, of course, 70% of the economy of the world is also now contributing by the Asia and the Pacific. So almost 6,000 universities located also in this region. So it's a huge community. I hope that it is time also the Asia, the next higher education superpower, no doubt, because Asia, you know, that is already made their position to become the superpower, and education is also not looks after seriously earlier, because USA, Europe, and other countries, they looks the education seriously, but Asia and this region, I think they looks after, but not so much. Now the grassroots level is also expanding. So of course, I should say the enrollment, if we consider the enrollment in West Asia and the Western Pacific, it was 50 million in tertiary education in 2019, the statistics in the 2019. And if you considering the whole research of the world, the 1/3 research is conducted in the development by the university. So this is a tremendous, opportunity for this AUAP to flourish. And next, please. And hopefully, the AUAP, we are committed, our new team, our new board, we are committed that it will be the voice of the world universities, inshallah. So again, our vision, already I think few is already mentioned by our President Peter Loret, and at the same time our Secretary General in his welcome speech. So 50% leading private and public university of Asia and the Pacific will be the member of AUAP. We'll try our best to bring maximum under this AUAP umbrella. And university will be confident, because we are taking a lot of initiative in our last board meeting, and we are hopeful that in the upcoming, our preparation will take a lot of activities so that the university will feel confident to come to as a member of the AUAP. And AUAP would be the world's largest university association with the help of all of the participants and all of our member university, and of course the contributor, those who are contributing, because we are lucky that this is another association. I love to be associated, because IUAP is also another association, because both of the association make one tremendous succession planning, because all of the former president is also the part of the association. So usually what happened when the president is completed their tenure, they are not become the part of the association. But this is a very good practice in AUAP and IUAP. So you know that of course two of our distinguished guests is also discuss about the 4th industrial revolution, And the fourth industrial revolution for, the focus now as World Economy Forum is already indicated the how this job market will take over by 2025. So I hope that as a AUAP, we should take a lot of precaution that and a lot of guidelines how the university should move forward to look after about this education for. And prepare the course curriculum, definitely the modern technology and considering the job market. And of course, there's outcome-based education. And luckily our government, our University Grant Commission is also taking initiative. Tomorrow we'll meet with our University Grants Commission in the closing session in our campus. So we are hopeful that our University Grant Commission is also getting a lot of direction, how they also playing very active role to strengthening the education system in our country. And the blockchain, robot, and everything you already aware, so I don't like to go in these details. Rather, I'm just some spotlight what we'll try to focus. Our new committee will focus as a service automation, we'll make it our association, one of the committed. And between this time, we already, and thank you our president, Peter Loret, who also initiated a research grant. First time a association is already developed a fund for the research fund for the AUAP member university. And AUAP scholarship, between this time our member university are also agree to give the scholarship among the member university of the AUAP. We are hopeful that in future a lot of student exchange, faculty exchange will be happen. And that definitely, as our keynote speaker, Dr. Fernando is also mentioned that online education is playing a very good role now. So how can we collaborate each other? Because a lot of university has a lot of best practices. A lot of teacher has a lot of good quality of teaching material or resources. And the style of conduction is very professional. So it is our time, AUAP, to find out all of the best practices and try our best to utilize it. And research, there's a initiative for capacity development of the faculty and definitely our student, because again, I should say that AUAP is always try to focus this student, because student should be our key focus. At the same time, we have some other initiative also, as we told the students, job and internship placement. Very easily we can work, because the student, if getting the opportunity to visit to the one country to another country as a globalization aspect, it is time also to give the opportunity to go abroad and to find out the job placement or internship placement. And association of AUAP, that is, we also took an initiative. We are hopeful that 2023 and 2024 will going to start first time in AUAP the summer program. It will be the Asia Pacific summer program for the student only. So I hope that all of the partnering university or the member university, you will send your student. I hope that next time we'll just open the bid is very shortly. I think our first board meeting will send to all of the member. We expect to all of you that someone will come forward to be host of the first Asia Pacific summer program. So because university at the end of the day, we are working for the student. If student is not getting the benefit, I think we cannot make ourselves prove or make ourselves as a best university. So Science and Technology Incubation and Technology Transfer Center is offering by our former president, Dr. Sean Chen from CS University. I think he will help with the funding and other thing to boost up the entrepreneurship and cross-border project. And Asia Pacific Faculty Exchange, because if the student is not getting the benefit, if the faculty is not getting their proper resources and the best practices, as I mentioned. So that is why we are also going to start the faculty exchange program. And thank you very much, Dr. Hari Mohan Gupta, Chancellor, Jagaran Lake University, for quality assurance to support the accreditation and the ranking. And we already decided in our board meeting. And another initiative we also took, we are going to form a AUAP student forum in every university. So we are expecting all of the distinguished members, those who are present here, please help us to initiate this student forum. Because if we are able to develop the student forum in every university, I hope it will be the great. So now I like to share the last day, that is yesterday's, one of the activities. I think this is the first time, that Dr. Asuta Samanta, he is the founder of, he's the two university founder now, and he's also the member of parliament of the Lok Sabha. So he also established in 1992 KISS, Kolingo Institute of Social Science, where 30,000 tribal students, deprived students, financially challenged students, they are studying. So after seeing his success, I myself from the Daffodil family, we also took initiative to establish one Daffodil Institute of Social Sciences. So just yesterday, he officially inaugurated this DISS, and with it, around 28 students, we already started. And our target is the 4,000 students we will consider in DISS, those who lost their father, mother, and they do not have anyone to look after them. So we will giving them fooding, lodging, education, everything we look after. So this is a 100% fully free residential and 100% fully free everything. So I don't like to going through the details. And again, thank you very much, our Honorable Mayor, Barrister Sheikh Fazlinur Taposh, who also joined with us last night in our welcoming dinner. I think we missed some of our distinguished guests. Again, today also we missed some of our distinguished guests due to their occupied in other activities. But anyway, so thank you very much, our Honorable Minister. And we are hopeful that after this opening session, we'll go to the next plenary session. So last slide, I like to put my thanks to all of the partner university. You know that a lot of the university is already joining here. So I don't like to going through all of the names. I think 30 university from abroad, they join in this program. So a lot of these founder, chancellor, they are here. So thank you very much. I don't like to mention each and every one name, but I know that a lot of you will participate in the plenary session and will get opportunity to meet each other. So thank you very much and wish all of you good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. And now we will hear the inaugural speech by the chief guest of today's program, Mr. Mustafa Jabbar, Minister, Ministry of Posts, Telecommunications and Information Technology, the Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Minister.
Good morning to everybody. I'm really delighted and honored to be present at this 50th conference of AIUP. I'd like to thank my good friend, Dr. Sabur Khan, for giving me the chance to be here and deliver the inaugural speech. I have been delighted through the keynote speech, and I'm really happy to see the theme of the conference and relating to information technology with 4IR. We know that we have crossed the human civilization, a lot of changes in the past, particularly the Asia-Pacific region was not involved in the first and second industrial revolution. For Bangladesh, we were agro-based, and we could just join the third industrial revolution at the end of its tenure. But one thing happened in Bangladesh, that is, in 2008, on 12th of December, our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina declared a program named Digital Bangladesh, and she expected that Bangladesh will be known as Digital Bangladesh by 2021. We have crossed 2021, and probably Bangladesh is known as Digital Bangladesh because the changes made in last 2009 to 2021, it is tremendously digital. Particularly, I should mention, as the keynote speaker has also mentioned about the COVID period, the whole world has learned that the traditional way of teaching is not the only way, and the human civilization just embraces some of the situation like COVID-19 when they have to change the behavioral pattern. Particularly, that was very challenging for the educational institution. And we had to learn how to survive with the physical presence in the classrooms. And I feel that has given the thought of having a blended education system that will have to adopt. And what I like to mention here, that the theme has mentioned that the education has to be ready for 4IR. We all of us know that 4IR was evolved in 2016 through World Economic Forum. The thoughts of Carl Schwab was the main agenda of the World Economic Forum in Davos in 2016. But in my thinking, we should also consider that now the world is thinking about 5IR. You can remember that when Carl Schwab introduced 4IR, Japan immediately reacted that there will be going to Society 5.0. And in 2019, World Economic Forum, which had a conference in Japan, also discussed about the 5IR. I came to know about 4IR in 2018 when I was in Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. There was a ministerial meeting, and the discussion between the ministers were about the development of fourth industrial revolution, the challenges and the benefits. I was told that the whole human civilization will face a new era, that is, machines will replace human beings, like having driverless cars, having robots for taking care of patients. And German minister told me, be ready for transferring your garments factories from Gazipur to Frankfurt. I had to think about it. And also, as Dr. Sabur Khan has given a picture of the democratic situation of the world and the population of China, India. Also, we are one of the most populous country. The whole Asia Pacific region has the same scenario. We'll have to think whether we shall be allowing the human civilization to be replaced by machines, and we have to come to the end of the human civilization. Therefore, the concept of 4IR is definitely very much applicable to the European and American situation, as they don't have the democratic dividend like us. And what I personally feel that we'll have to think of the idea given by Japan on Society 5.0. That is simply an addition to the 4IR, that the machines are to be counted, to be connected to the human beings. And probably the educational system has the highest challenge how to adapt to the new situation. And particularly, Asia Pacific region has the largest challenge because we have the largest population base. In my opinion, there has been changes in innovation also. I went to Switzerland in 2019 and visited the WIPO headquarters. The DG of WIPO gave me an information. That was something very interesting. We know that first, second, and third industrial revolution was started in the Europe and American region. And in 2019, WIPO DG said that the Europe and America has applied for more than 3,000 patents, and only one company of China has applied for more than 5,000 patents. It indicates that the scenario is changing. The innovation was the very basic thing of the European Asian region, but now the sun rising at the east. So I'm really happy that Asia Pacific region's educational institutions are becoming closer and working together. The presentation given by Dr. Khan has given me more optimism that the students of these regions, the faculties of these regions, and the universities of these regions are coming closer, exchanging their views, ideas, and the facilities are also to be shared. I personally feel that with the inclusion of Dr. Sobun Khan in the leadership of Asia Pacific University Associations, I think Bangladesh will be properly represented, and this association will be benefited by the leadership of our good friend Dr. Sabur Khan. I'm really delighted to be here, and I hope you will gather knowledge, share experiences, and definitely find real solutions for the future of the world. I mean, the younger generation of this region. I personally feel that the people of this region are innovative, they have the talent, and now is the time that we nourish them and make them capable of be the leaders of fifth industrial revolution. I thank you all and again express my gratitude to the leadership of Asia Pacific University Association. Thank you all. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu. Long live Bangladesh.
Thank you, the Honorable Minister. I requested the Honorable Minister to remain on this stage because now we will have the official inauguration. I would like to request Professor Dr. M. Lutfur Rahman, the respected Vice Chancellor of Daffodil International University, to accompany the dignitaries and delegates for the official inauguration onto the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to tell you that we'll have a very special inauguration with Daffodil Cruiser, and this has been developed by Daffodil Robotics Lab. Hello everyone, meet the smart and intelligent robot who can be your real-life assistant and serve you through its artificial intelligence system and also can entertain you by dancing and singing. Let's welcome that intelligent robot, Daffodil Cruiser, to inaugurate the 15th AUAP 2022 General Conference.
Thank you. Clever.
Hello, Honorable Minister. I am very glad to see you at the opening ceremony of the 15th General Conference of AUAP 2022.
Hello, Daffodil class. Happy to see you too. How is everything going?
All is well. You know, higher education institution leaders are talking about information technology, quality education, fourth industrial revolution, etc. So I thought I could join and listen to them.
Oh, wow. That's great.
I can feel that you are fully ready to inaugurate the conference with distinguished guests from many different countries.
Yes, I am ready to go.
Well, this time I'm not alone, but with my other tech friends.
Oh, really? Nice to know. Where are they?
My friends are here to help you to inaugurate the 15th General Conference of AUAP 2022.
Hello, sir. My name is Kitty. I am autonomous delivery robot developed by Daffodil Robotics Lab. Welcome to 15th AUAP conference hosted by Daffodil International University.
Honorable Minister, can you open up the cage and release my friend Kitty to fly with the conference flag?
Definitely.
I'm disconnected. Please help me connect to the network. Successfully connected. Network is available now.
Ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries, AUAP 2022 is now officially open. Thank you. I would like to request the dignitaries to remain on the dais because now we would hand over tokens of appreciation and gratitude to the Honorable Chief Guest and the keynote speaker. So first, I would like to
Thank you, sir.
First, I would like to request Professor Dr. S.M. Mahbubul Haq Majumdar, Pro-Vice Chancellor, DIU, and Convener of 15th AUAP GC 2022, and Professor Dr. Ricardo P. Palma, Secretary General AUAP, to hand over a crest to the keynote presenter, Dr. Fernando Leon Garcia, President of the International Association of University Presidents, IAUP, USA, and President of CETIS University. Now I would like to request Dr. Muhammad Sobur Khan, respected founder and chairman DIU, and AUAP President Dr. Peter P. Laurel, to hand over a crest to the Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Mustafa Jabbar, Minister, Ministry of Posts, Telecommunications and Information Technology, the Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Thank you, Honorable Minister. And now, we would like to frame this special moment. I would again like to request the dignitaries to remain on the dais, and I would like to request the registered participants of AUAP 2022, including the 16 registered participants from DIU, to line up in front of the stage to have the official photograph of AUAP 2022. Let me repeat, the registered participants of AUAP 2022, including the 16 registered participants from DIU, are requested to line up in front of the stage to have the official photograph of AUAP 2022.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can have a round of applause to celebrate this special moment. Thank you to all the dignitaries and delegates.
Now I would like to request Professor Dr. S.M. Mahbubul Haq Majumdar, Pro-Vice Chancellor of Daffodil International University and convener of 15th AUAP GC 2022, to offer the vote of thanks.
In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and merciful, Honorable Chief Guest of the inaugural ceremony of the 15th Conference of AUAP, Mr. Mustafa Jabbar, MP, Honorable Minister, Minister of Posts, Telecommunication and Information Technology, the Government People's Republic of Bangladesh. Respected Dr. P. Laurel, Honorable President of AUAP, and Professor Dr. Ricardo P. Pama, Secretary General AUAP, and Professor Dr. Asus Samant, founder of Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, India, and member of the Parliament of India. First Vice President Dr. Muhammad Sabur Khan, Honorable Chairman, Board of Trustees, Daffodil International University. It may mention here that Dr. Khan has become the President of the AUAP, so our heartfelt congratulations to you, sir. Distinguished dignitaries assembled here from different renowned institutions from home and abroad, journalists, both electronic print and electronic media, and my respected colleagues. We are extremely grateful to you all for your kind presence at the 15th AUAP conference despite your busy schedule. Very, very good morning to you all. Our heartiest thanks and warm congratulations to you all for attending at the 15th AUAP conference at the Daffodil International, hosted by Daffodil International University, Dhaka, Bangladesh. We feel proud to welcome you to this prestigious and meaningful conference at our green campus, which is now happening at this Hotel Radisson Blue Water Garden. It is needless to say that you have faced lots of trouble to reach at this destination. The theme of the conference is synergy between information technology and quality education in the post-IR era. The main reason for choosing this the fourth industrial revolution is knocking at the door to keep the entrepreneur and related organs such as industry and academicians. We highly encourage the leaders from higher education institutions in Bangladesh and all around the world to participate and to share their practices during this prestigious conference and extend mutual academic collaborations. Our special thanks to the Honorable Minister Mustafa Jabbar, Chief Guest of this occasion, and our respected distinguished guests from home and abroad. We are also extending our warm thanks to all participants and our thanks to the respective journalists, print and electronic media. We are very much grateful to the convener and the members of each and every committee for their active support and participation to make this conference a great success. Finally, we hope you will pass a good time during your stay here. Please accept our deep apology for any inconvenience that may occur while hosting you at this conference. Please accept our best wishes. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries, this brings us to the official ending of the opening ceremony. Now we will move on to the leaders panel on future of the university. But please bear with us. We need 2 minutes of your precious time for stage preparation. Thank you for your patience.